I have two of my favorite paramotors to share with you in this video, the Gravity Defiant and the Parajet Maverick. They look similar, so I will show you the difference that make each of these truly unique. If you're the type of person who loves the idea of being able to fly, then I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to responding to all of your questions in the comment section below. In general, all paramotors have certain components that, when put all together, make it a paramotor. There is the propeller that transfers power from the engine to create thrust, a tank that supplies fuel to the engine, the spars provide support to the hoop that hold the net that prevent your hand and arms from coming into contact with the propeller, the harness where the pilot is strapped in provides comfort and functionality, the swing arms are the connection point between the paramotor and the paraglider overhead, and all of these things connect to the frame, and it's this frame where we're going to find the biggest difference between my Parajet Maverick and the Gravity Defiant. The Maverick by the British company Parajet costs just over $8,300. The Defiant by the American company Gravity costs $5,500. The Maverick's frame is a relatively standard design. It's made with titanium, which has brought the total weight of the unit down a bit. All of the components are fastened to this frame by either bolts or straps. The Gravity Defiant is an entirely new design. Instead of using a welded frame, Gravity built the body of the Defiant out of a high-strength, fiber-infused plastic in a process called rotomolding. Like the Maverick, all of the other parts of the Defiant are fastened to this part of the paramotor. However, this frame-like component also doubles as a massive tank, capable of carrying up to 5 gallons of fuel. That amount of fuel would allow me to fly for upwards of 5 hours. The fuel tank on my Parajet Maverick is 10 liters or 2.64 gallons, which equates to about 2.5 hours of flight time on the standard tank. What you see equipped to my Parajet Maverick is their cross-country tank. It's their 17-liter tank, which is 4.5 gallons, which would equate to potentially a 4.5-hour flight. So it's not quite as much as the Gravity Defiant, but still that would seem like a lot more time than the average person would be looking to fly. So both of them, like their range, is comparable, 4.5–5 hours. On the topic of fuel tanks, just a little thing that I like about the Gravity Defiant is the location of its fuel cap. It's up high and clear of anything that could get in the way of the nozzle while attempting to refuel my paramotor. It also has a leash, or like a lanyard, on the cap. I recently went flying and I foolishly forgot to secure the cap all the way, and it came out. And some people who saw me when I was live streaming a flight noticed that the fuel cap was just dangling there. But had I not had the lanyard, it could have gone into my propeller, so I'm glad that it was there. The Maverick's fuel cap is behind the harness, which isn't quite as convenient, but with some practice it can be accessed fairly easily. Because of the awkward angle, some people use a funnel to refuel their Mavericks, but I use a fuel can with a longer nozzle and it reaches the fuel cap pretty easily. Both of my paramotors have my favorite engine in the world, which is the Moster 185 Plus. Yeah, it's that good. I really like it. It's the power to weight ratio that has me so thoroughly impressed. It's the engine that allows me to gain altitude quickly. I feel safe flying both the Maverick and the Defiant because I'm not lacking power on either unit. No matter what paramotor you get, I would always recommend getting more power than you think you might need. If I find myself in a weird little predicament where there's, say, a power line up ahead and I need to get out of dodge really quickly, I can apply full power and climb much faster than I would be able to if I had not had an engine capable of producing a lot of thrust. So the Moster 185 is where it's at for me, and both of these units have it, so I'm really happy about that. Back to the comparison. The spars on the Gravity Defiant are CNC'd from aviation-grade aluminum alloy. They look awesome to me, and they're super strong. The 5 spars plug into CNC'd female receivers that are secured into the body of this Gravity Defiant. The Maverick spars are made of titanium, much like the rest of the paramotor. These titanium spars plug into the titanium frame that will then connect to the titanium hoop section. It's a titanium paramotor. There are 4 spars on the Maverick. There's 2 on the top that connect like an A-frame, and then 1 on each side. The hoop section on the Defiant is strong and super easy to assemble. I posted a video where I put all of my weight on the hoop section and it didn't even flex. I love a strong hoop section because it's the most vulnerable part of any paramotor. At least it's one of the most vulnerable parts. The guys over at Gravity have said that they're going to create a carbon fiber hoop section that's going to bring the weight down quite a bit. I think they said by 2 pounds or so. I don't know if this is something that I would want to keep on my paramotor because anything carbon fiber is going to be more fragile. And if you are prone to make, a mistake occasionally, then you probably wouldn't want carbon fiber as your hoop section. The MAVIC's hoop section is made from titanium, just like everything else on the MAVIC, and it looks really nice. However, that titanium is not going to be as durable as the Gravity Defiance hoop section.
Motor out, motor out, motor out, motor out.
I have fallen over on landing once when my motor unexpectedly quit. It turned out later on to be my own fault. And the frame was bent out of shape. And since it's titanium, it's fairly easy to bend, but it takes a lot of skill to be able to bend it back to its original shape. Like, you can get it close, but to get it exact I wasn't able to do it. So I ended up ordering a new one. The overall size of the hoop section is different between these two. My Defiance hoop section is larger than the MAVIC's. Because of that larger hoop section on my Defiant, the guys at Gravity were able to equip a 130 centimeter propeller on it, and the MAVIC has a 125 centimeter propeller because of the smaller hoop section. And that means that it has between 15 to 10% less thrust than the Gravity Defiant. Even though they have identical motors, the larger propeller is able to produce more thrust. Both of these propellers are made by a company called eProp that specializes in carbon fiber ultralight aircraft propellers. Since they are lightweight, they spool up really quickly, allowing for the maximum thrust to be delivered in seconds. The downside is that eProps are really fragile compared to other props on the market, like the Helix prop or perhaps even some wooden props. The MAVIC and the Defiant have similar shapes to the swing arms. The MAVIC's swing arms are permanently fixed to the frame, and they're able to pivot vertically at the connection point, allowing the pilot to turn the glider just using weight shift. A U-shaped bracket bolted near the end of the swing arm serves as the clip-in point where the risers connect glider to paramotor. The carabiners that came with my MAVIC originally weren't the best. It was a twist lock mechanism that felt a little bit cumbersome to operate with one hand. The new ones that I got, I'm able to use with one hand so I can open it with this locking mechanism and then use my other hand to scoop up the risers and then clip them in. Before it was it was challenging. You'll have to take my word for it. The Gravity Defiant comes standard with those high strength steel ones that I ended up ultimately putting on my Parajet MAVIC. The Defiant swing arms are slightly larger than the MAVIC swing arm. What I like about the Gravity Defiant swing arms is that I can adjust how wide I can set them. Even though I cannot adjust the Parajet MAVIC swing arms, I'm really happy with where they're permanently fixed. It just works out well for me personally. I have some friends that I fly with who are, those big boys that probably would appreciate having the ability to widen the swing arms more than the MAVICs, just because it would enable them to have more wiggle room, more comfort while flying. Even though I'm not personally a really wide frame, I enjoy using that feature and being able to really widen the stance of the swing arms. And one way to imagine it is if you really bring those arms out wide, then that allows for your body to have more of an effect on turning, because as you lean, it will create a more drastic effect in the swing arms coming up and down, which is going to pull the risers one way or another more. Because if the swing arms are tight, then you're not going to get as much movement. They have this puck system which connects to the swing arms near the pins where it mounts into the body. And these pucks actually allow for a horizontal element of movement, which increases the effect that your weight shift would have while flying. And secondly, it makes it feel more natural, like free flight. The Parajet MAVIC really does have a decent amount of weight shift when flying around. I've always liked it. I've always been able to do sufficient wingovers or barrel rolls on my Parajet MAVIC. And lastly, I will show you the harnesses on both of these bad boys. The Parajet MAVIC comes standard with my favorite harness in the industry. That is, of course, the power comfort seat made by the paragliding manufacturer Dudek. As the name suggests, it's a comfortable harness. It really is. I really can't think of anything wrong with this harness. It has a pocket on one side, a reserve container on the other. Under the seat, there's additional storage space. It's fast to clip into with only 4 connection points. And it utilizes my absolute favorite clips in the industry, the Cobra clips. Now, I did order my Gravity Defiant with the Sup Air harness. And Sup Air is a well-known paragliding company that sells gliders and many free flight harnesses. The Sup Air harness on my Defiant is one that a lot of people really love, but I'm just less enthusiastic about it. Compared to my Mavericks harness, it's slightly more comfortable because there's more padding in the shoulders and in the back, but it is slightly less ergonomic. Like there's 5 clip-in points versus 4 on my other harness. And the clips being used don't feel as robust, even though I know that they're just as strong. I also felt like the speed bar connection on the Parajet MAVIC's Dudek's harness was just more streamlined. It's more obvious how to route it. So I tried to do it recently with my Sup Air harness without the instruction manual, which is not advisable, but I tried to figure it out on my own, and I wasn't able to, like I was with the Dudek Power Comfort Seat. So I did refer to the manual, and in an upcoming video, I'm going to show you guys how I attach speed bar to my Gravity Defiant for the ultimate ride. But aside from that, the Sup Air harness has the same awesome amenities that the Dudek harness does. It has a large pocket on one side, a reserve container on the other, storage under the seat, tons of adjustable straps to maximize comfort. One feature that the Sup Air harness does have that the Dudek harness doesn't have is the Sup Air harness has a transparent compartment in one of the shoulder straps, which if you wanted to get, let's say, a tachometer or an EGT to measure your engine temperature, then you can keep that visible while you're flying, for those of you who like to monitor the status of your engine. I find both of my paramotors to be really easy to get out to where I fly. Most of the time I just put them in the back of my truck and secure them with one tie-down strap. They're both pretty easy to pick up. However, the MAVIC is about 7 pounds lighter than my Defiant, which is about 62 pounds, I think. Sometimes I ride out to my airfield. Sometimes I do ride out to the airfield on my four-wheeler while wearing the paramotor on my back. And I just clip the glider that I'm choosing to fly that day to the hoop section of whichever paramotor I take. All in all, I love my paramotors. Let me know in the comment section below which paramotor you would get if you were, let's say, interested in getting into flying paramotors. And I'd be really happy to answer any questions you may have in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, please click that thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down button and let me know what you would like different in the next video. Thank you all very much for the support, and I really look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace!